How's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Wednesday, February 12th, 2025 is the date, 11:08 a.m. That's California time here, where we're expecting a pretty decent winter storm coming up tonight. A lot of rainfall coming down here. We need it. Latest activity here on the Earthquake 3D globe shows a 2.3 across the Oklahoma area, probably more likely associated with the oil fields out there in that region. Starting off here with Greece, Santorini area. This is the last 24 hours here of earthquake activity, 188 events. Still got that southward migration going on here towards the Santorini area with some decent magnitudes up in the 4 range. Here's a 4.7, a couple other 4s out here as well. Another 5-pointer overnight as well. Let's see what we got for the map filters. Going to bring up the all magnitudes here. This is 1,467 earthquakes here in the last week. Of course, that number is well above that. If we go back the last couple weeks here, we're looking at probably getting close to 10,000 earthquakes or so in this major, unprecedented earthquake swarm occurring out here around the Colombo Volcano, Greece area, Santorini area over here. This had a little bit of a movement around it as well recently. Still nothing, no major change in terms of any explosive events or any die down. Here's the last 24 hours of data coming in from the recorded seismograph station there around the Santorini, Greece area. Still looks cluttered as the days before. So again, nothing has changed there across the area. Just a continued earthquake swarm, unprecedented in the numbers, with no main event, no volcanic eruption yet. I'm still leaning towards the potential of volcanic activity here soon. There's a number of 4s and 5s out there in the last 24 hours. The USGS showing the latest here as a 4.7. Literally like 10 hours ago, but that's the USGS. They only report the earthquakes 4.0 and above, and sometimes not even that. But according to the Raspberry Shake data station here, the latest earthquake 9 minutes ago for a 2.5 in this area. As you can see, quite a few 2s. And it looks like we've seen had another 4.7 here within the last hour. See that? This 4.7. This is a little bit closer down to the Santorini area at 1834. And that's going to match, that's within the last hour because it's 1905 UTC time here. But again, notice USGS really not reporting those quakes anymore, even though there was a 4.7 up there. So that's why I like to look at alternative agencies there. Either way, I think we all can agree that the earthquake swarm is continuing. It has not died off, and we got that migration going on down here across the area. That 4.7, about 10 kilometers deep there, just outside the caldera region of the Santorini volcano. We'll continue to watch that and report back on anything that changes out there. Northern California, a little bit more earthquake activity overnight. Of course, I'm keeping up the earthquake watch here for the California region due to elevated earthquake movement out here in the last couple days. Number of 4s out here in the last couple days as well across Northern California. 4.5 offshore along the, this is going to be the Gorda Plate and the Pacific Plate boundary. They call it the Mendocino Fault Zone here, northern end of the San Andreas Fault. Southern end here of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. Very dynamic area in terms of complexity and mega quake potential. A couple more earthquakes following that 4.5 after midnight, a 3-pointer and a more recent 2.0. I see here, where's the Dinsmore? This is a Dinsmore station here. I'm having some issues with the local seismograph stations there around Northern California. They keep going offline, but I do have the Dinsmore station. Looks like it is showing a little bit of smaller earthquake activity. China Lake down there in Southern California as well. A lot of these little spikes showing up across the seismograph stations there, mainly across the West Coast. And a lot of times before larger quakes take place, we see these little signals, these large spikes. They're not big earthquakes, but they show up quite nicely on the seismograph stations here. China Lake, Yellowstone's actually picking one up as well. So we'll continue to keep an eye there on the California area. A couple earthquakes over here across the valley, northern Sacramento Valley and the northern Sierra Nevada mountains there from yesterday. That is a key indicator of strain out here across northern California. The Bay Area, awfully quiet. Not a whole lot going on down there. One earthquake on the San Andreas Fault, the Santa Cruz Mountains section, that looks like 2.1 from, that is actually from yesterday. So pretty quiet there across the Bay Area. Southern California, a little bit less active here today. Still got a number of quakes down here. Nothing, well, yeah, this is from yesterday, 2.6. Nothing today as far as 2.5 and above goes, but, you know, these wave patterns out here, they kind of come in waves in terms of elevated seismic activity out here across California. I'm going to leave the earthquake watch up in effect here due to the elevated movement that we've seen. We had that earthquake swarm right on the San Andreas Fault last couple days there. Number of 3s being reported overnight. One more earthquake, a 2.4 in that mix. So we got a total tally, at least according to the USGS, 25 earthquakes on the southern branch of the San Andreas Fault. And as you can see here, a number of 3s on there. And that's a little rare. So I'm still watching this area quite closely. It does have the potential to produce a mega quake. Yeah, mega quake in Southern California is very possible along the San Andreas Fault here. The southern segment has not seen a full rupture down here in over 300 years. So there's quite a bit of strain up there, up along that plate boundary. Yellowstone National Park, let's go see what's going on there. Nothing on the USGS map, of course, but we will double check that on the recorded seismograph stations here. Yeah, it looks, let's see here. Is that one earthquake? It's hard to tell if that's an earthquake or just a blip. It almost looks like an earthquake, but really not showing up here on the local seismograph stations. There's a number of these little smaller ones here. But for the most part, not a whole lot of earthquake activity today there across Yellowstone. A little bit of swarming going on yesterday. You can see it up here around Maple Creek. That showed up all across the park here. And the epicenter area was down here across the southern caldera section there of the Yellowstone supervolcano. That's it in the black outline here. Massive caldera, which if that thing were to blow, we would have an advance warning out here. We'd see elevation changes in terms of inflation. Right, and that's not the case. It has been going down. But periodically, we see these earthquake swarms out there, and they have a little spitter-spatter type event to them where there's about 2 or 3 hours of intense earthquake activity, and then it just calms down, similar to what we've seen here yesterday, early yesterday. Good, I don't know, man, probably 35, 45 earthquakes or so in that mix. USGS showing, I think they reported 13 earthquakes or so, or 14 earthquakes, so a lot less than what actually took place out here. Here's their number. Actually, it looks like they went down a little bit, only showing 11, but there was a lot more than that. It's pretty obvious if you look on the map right here. Not going to count them all, but if you were, it would be up around the 45 count. All right, so moving on past that, today a lot quieter there across Yellowstone. Oil fields out here across the plains, the Permian Basin region down here getting hammered with earthquakes, but that is very common. It's sad to say, but that is now earthquake country out here. Strong relationship between the oil boom and earthquakes. A lot of fracking operations and wastewater disposal facilities down there. 451 earthquakes there in western Texas. I guess they would call this western Texas. Either way, out around the Permian Basin region, a lot of oil fields out there. If you look at any satellite imagery, or if you were to fly over this area, man, it is littered with thousands of oil fields, and each got their own wastewater disposal pond there. It looks like literally you can't walk 5 feet without running into a new oil field. So that is earthquake country, whether they like it or not. That is part of life now. New Madrid seismic zone, one earthquake outside the area, 2.2 from yesterday, but really pretty quiet out here across the eastern portion of the country. Looking at the global scale of things here, the largest magnitude, it's going to be the 5.1 in Greece from yesterday, and a 5.0 in Greece, all around the Santorini volcano in an earthquake swarm out here. 11 earthquakes according to the USGS, 4.0 and above, but we know that's up there in the hundreds here in the last 24 hours. All right, let me see if Volcano Discovery has anything new on their site. Volcano Discovery site. Normally like to look at this site just to see if there's any new information. It does look like there is a little bit. There's always volcanoes in eruption stage here, but the Santorini area kind of tops the chart right now in terms of potential broad scale damage. So Santorini, this was update maybe later, man. I try to support people when I can, but it seems like everyone's popping up. Donate here, donate. There's the earthquake count. Let's see where we're at here. Santorini volcano, Greece. Earthquake swarm continues. 2 more magnitude 5 events. This is put out today. There's all the earthquake activity. Southward migration here, the most recent in the red. Over the past day or so, past 2 days, the concentration of earthquakes were mainly back up north here. But now it looks like we're starting to get a southward migration again. Number of earthquakes and the depth of the earthquakes there. I'm telling you, some of those down to 20 kilometers or so, a lot up at the 5-kilometer range. So it's a huge influx of magma from below. I firmly believe that this is not just fault system earthquake activity. It's unprecedented if that was the case. This should have gone down by now if this was just strictly fault related. This is magma related, and it's continuing to go up and staying steady. People on Santorini can roughly feel an earthquake every 40 to 50 minutes or so. Man, if I had the extra time and obviously the money, I would love to go out there and document this. It would be a once-in-a-lifetime event to document something like this. But unfortunately, I'm not rich. But that would be kind of interesting to experience that and document every single earthquake out there and talk to the locals. But that's a fairy tale. I can't do that. Got to put that on the back of the burner, I guess. Either way, as you can see here, over the last 2 days here, a lot of earthquake activity. Pretty deep, fairly shallow. It's up and down the board. That's a key indicator of a massive amount of magma, I feel, is coming up from the area. We'll continue to watch that. Nothing has changed there. Still seeing consistent earthquake activity in the earthquake swarm. That's all it is for right now. All right, what else we got here around the globe? Let's check out the earthquake 3D program here, see if there's anything major going on. A little bit of movement there off the Columbia coast, 4.8 looks like here. Columbian Trench, pretty shallow though, back prior to the subduction zone, 4.8 early this morning. The rest of the globe here, pretty quiet across the Atlantic Ocean. All the action there in the Santorini area. Pretty quiet across the Himalayas. Java Trench somewhat active out here, some 2s and 3s, even a couple 4s in there, but really nothing major going on there for now. Japan area, a couple more quakes here across the Japan Trench, number of 4s it looks like here across the area. Keep an eye on the Nankai Trough. That is under a lot of strain here, and of course that's a region that, the Japanese Meteorological Agency is expecting a megaquake on it. In fact, they increased the chances of a megaquake occurring on that subduction zone here last year due to all the elevated seismic activity happening around it. And this area is getting the strain put on it right now. The latest quake of 4.8, 50 miles deep here into the Japan Trench. This one fairly deep, 4.7 there from yesterday into the Izu Trench. All that momentum and strain guaranteed right at the Nankai Trough area. All right, Hawaii, nothing showing up there on the map, but I believe, let's go check that out here real quick, see what we got. I believe they've paused once again. Or did they erupt? Either way, hey, we're at episode 9. It's been a rinse and repeat cycle here across the Kilauea volcano in terms of eruption, little pause, couple days pause. Looks like we're paused right now. Did have some fountaining there last night, I believe, with up to 100 feet or so of fountaining. But as of right now, it looks like it's paused. Let's see what we got here for the latest update. This was put out, yesterday. Well, actually, it was more than 100 feet. I mean, not 100 meters. That's right, 330 feet. I was going to say, I was thinking in my mind, 100 feet, that's not really that tall. But 330 feet, 100 meters there yesterday. But it looks like no new update put out today. But according to the visual observation here, looks like that has died down. So pause right now to number 9, episode 9. And I'm sure we'll see this kick back up again here in terms of episode 10 happening. It's a rather interesting series of events out here, rinse and repeat. There is the eruption here yesterday. Notice the deformation data going down, volume of magma depleted from the area below. There's a pause right now in the last couple hours, so they haven't put out an update yet. But it already looks like we're starting to go back up in terms of inflation. And if you follow the trend out here, well, it's been the trend. It's definitely been a common trend of up and down pattern here. Something I haven't seen in quite a while. Interesting nonetheless, but maybe that's keeping it from becoming too big of an event out there. So we'll watch that. See Southern California lighten up a little bit. San Diego, we haven't seen anything down there across San Diego in quite a while. They can get some big earthquakes out there. It's been awfully quiet across San Diego. If you look at the last 30 days of earthquake activity, really not a whole lot happening out here, but it is lighting up right now in the last hour with a 1.2 and a 1.1. Earthquake activity not as common, but it's a little odd to see nothing really going on out there. May see something here soon. I don't recall the last time we've seen a big event out there across San Diego area. I'm kind of curious here. Let me look real quick. We're going to go, we'll just go 4.5 and above. And we'll draw a little rectangle here on the map. See what we got for the folks down in San Diego area. I just want to specifically look at this. I don't want to involve the San Andreas Fault or anything else. Just that region right there for 4.5 and above. Not a whole lot of earthquake activity, huh? But can they get some big ones? They can. 6.2 back in 1862. Pretty decent earthquake. That's directly underneath the North Island Naval Air Station here. That was a pretty big earthquake back then. 6.1, 1894, east of San Diego here, just around the El Cajon area, Alpine region, up in the mountains. But the most recent earthquake of anything 4.5 and above, 1983. It seems a little odd. So maybe, Southern California in general is pretty much anywhere you look at. It could be overdue for some earthquake activity, but we'll keep an eye on that. It's starting to light up out here across the San Diego area right now. Continue to leave the West Coast where California earthquake watch up. Space weather activity. We are looking at, let's look at the most recent magnetogram image here. Some very small sunspots out here. A lot of decayed areas. These were probably... who knows how many times these sunspots have gone around the sun and back again. I believe these are the ones that were out here just a couple weeks ago that look similar, that were flaring off and on. And it's the same old sunspots. They come around again. Sometimes we'll get, a couple newer ones popping up, but these larger coverage ones that shows the old decaying area, spread out like that. These have probably come around the sun and gone around again countless times. And they get renamed a new number out here. So looks like 3990, 3991. Again, I don't keep track of them, but man, I believe those are the old ones that have come around numerous times and gone back around and back around. Crazy. But looking at the magnetogram image of these sunspots, not really expecting much out here. Looks fairly minimal, fairly neutral in terms of complexity. Not looking at any major flaring out here. A little bit of C-flare activity, very minimal C-flare activity here in the last couple days. But overall, flare threat is dropping. I have mine set at less than 1% for X-flare. M-flare at 40% here, which is probably fairly reasonable. No major roars there in the forecast for now, folks. Beautiful, bright, 100% illuminated moon out there. I seen it last night. Beautiful. I might go out tonight. Well, I can't tonight. It's supposed to be pouring down rain, which is okay. But I should have got it last night. That's okay. Let's see. Let's check out close approach asteroids here. I still have yet to do my full update and overview of asteroid 2024 YR4, which is going to potentially hit the Earth in 2032. As far as the ones that are, it goes to show you here, 2024 YR4 was just discovered last year, but it's got a orbital period here of the Earth that happens every 4 years. How did it just get discovered in 2024 if it's been, going around us for every 4 years? It's weird, and it's odd that they didn't discover it years past. But, there's a lot. It just goes to show you that there's literally hundreds and thousands of asteroids that are out there around the planet at any given time. And this one here has a decent chance of hitting us in 2032. We'll cover that a little bit as soon as I get everything together. It's probably going to be a fairly lengthy video, but I want to do it right. Nothing going on right now as far as any close approach asteroids go. It looks like the closest one, just under 1 million miles from the planet for a 28-foot bus-sized asteroid there named 2025. Just discovered. See? 2000. These are all newly discovered asteroids here. This one's an older one. 2004 is when it was discovered. 160-foot size asteroid. But look at all these new ones just being discovered every single day. All right, Storm Prediction Center. What do we got for? I knew they would upgrade this a little bit from last night. It was just a slight risk. Now they've added here from the Storm Prediction Center an enhanced area for tornado activity. 10% hatched area there across, Montgomery, Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi in there as well. Now, the hatched area is the most dynamic region here, technically speaking, where all the ingredients are coming into play to produce some very strong tornadoes. We're talking up to an EF5 tornado, 10% or greater within about 25 miles of a point in that area. Of course, that's just the main region where they're concerned about. We have a 5% and a 2% surrounding this area. Anywhere within this zone today, if you live out here or traveling through, keep your eyes on the sky, keep your weather radio on, and watch for some tornadoes out there. Kind of hard to do when it's the jungle down there, lots of trees down there. We do have a threat for some wind damage as well. Not so much for the hail potential, but a little 5% there potential. 5% potential there on hail today. So just a heads up. Another storm knocking on California's door out here. The storm door. It would be nice if it was open. We got some impressive rainfall rates here for this storm. It tends to dry out after this one, though. But Southern California getting in on some decent rainfall as well. Northern California, all of the West Coast here getting a welcoming rain event. After that, well, looks like some clippers there across the Pacific Northwest. But I don't see any major storms aimed at California following this one. We do have a lot of colder air dipping back down across east of the Rockies. That includes the southern plains down here where we could see some snow venturing out there across Texas again as we head towards the middle and end of next week. A lot of cold air coming down. Look at that. All right, what else we got out here, folks? Let me see. Seismograph stations look pretty quiet. And I think there might be something wrong with that Dinsmore station here. I'm going to have to see if I can find another one, a different one. But the Mendocino went offline. The Petrolia station, I don't believe, is working here. Humboldt County. Which one's that? Humboldt County. I'm trying to find a PB station, which is a plate boundary station here. Oops, I don't want that one. Sometimes it's hard to find, but let's try the Mendocino. There's Petrolia. Let's see if that's working again. Yeah, Petrolia is actually working. So this one's a little bit more reliable in terms of outside interference that the Dinsmore station's picking up. So I'll get rid of that one. Petrolia is literally right next to Dinsmore in a way, but it's not showing all that outside interference. A little spike of an earthquake right there in Northern California, but we'll keep an eye on things. Southern California cracking a little bit with some earthquakes down there. And quick glance at the Greece area. Santorini volcano looks quiet for now in terms of the seismograph reading. That R25B3 station is down here. It does pick up most of the earthquakes above 3.0 and above. The latest quake 12 minutes ago for a 2.7. Continued earthquake activity out here, folks. So we'll continue to watch it. Got southward migration going on here today across this area, as noted with a number of 4s and 5s there in that cluster. And we'll provide any updates as they become available. Have a good day. Enjoy your Wednesday out there. And we'll see you guys back out here a little bit later on this evening.